Grabbin' by the Ballots is a digital art collage that I created for this assignment, and it depicts the feminist struggle of women in the U.S. to gain fair representation, treatment, and respect in America. America the Great? Well, not really these days, because more than ever before, the country's liberal, progressive, and modern image is tainted by misogynic remarks coming from its own president, who makes comments like "grab him by the pussy," by prominent figures exposed as sexual predators and rapists, and by threats to limit female reproductive rights, and never doing enough to finally close the relentless wage gap between men and women. The name of my artwork alludes to President Trump's distasteful pussy-grabbing remark. When the video surfaced, there was national and global criticism by feminists everywhere, but the real response came this November, when a record number of women was elected to office. Hence the title of my work, Grab 'em by the Ballots. It's both a reference to the successful result of the elections and a pun to the term, grabbing them by the balls. Women are finally taking control, grabbing the male-dominated government by the balls and responding to President Trump's comment at the same time. Only these women take charge the right way. My piece also acknowledges the long way women have come in just 2 years. It's been a remarkable new wave of feminists fighting for social change that hit several milestones. It started with the largest women's march in history, continued with the Time's Up and Me Too movements, gaining record-breaking momentum, the latter acknowledged by Time magazine by choosing sexual assault whistleblowers as Person of the Year, and finally the national protest against Justice Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation in light of sexual assault accusations made by Christine Blasey Ford. These events mobilized a record number of females to run for office, for state legislators, governor, Congress, and Senate. These efforts have succeeded marvelously, as women broke records in all 4 categories. So how does my artwork address all this progress? Well, let's start with composition, because it was a fundamental device for this artwork. I purposely crowded the image as a symbol for the massive support for the struggle for social change, and did this by using over 80 images cut and pasted as a collage. However, a closer look indicates that the organization is not chaotic at all. It can easily be divided to 3 levels of analysis, with the most inner layer and the outmost layer corresponding as causes to the middle layer, the set elected women, the outcome. For the outmost layer, I used photos from the Women's March and photos from Me Too and the Kavanaugh appointment protests to literally frame the outcome. These protests framed the atmosphere that encouraged so many women to run and vote as and for women. In the center of the image, I placed a photo of Judge Kavanaugh during his confirmation hearing. This image is the foundation of my work, the background image which all the other photos were pasted over. I purposely used a grayscale effect to contrast it against the vibrant women. I used composition to create depth by creating diagonal lines, colors fading towards the back end of the picture, and decreasing the size of characters from front to back, obscuring one another. I also left some space around Kavanaugh to make sure the eye is drawn to him. I put him in the center because I see his confirmation as the final straw and the freshest incident that really drove women to vote in the midterm elections, and candidates that represented their needs and interests. Finally, the women. This layer features the congresswomen and female senators that were elected in the midterms and the incumbent ones who voted against Kavanaugh's confirmation. I chose to emphasize their vibrant colors because I believe that it stands for the vibrancy that finally returned to the American political institutions. It also represents optimism and hope for more pro-female legislation. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and her fellow congresswomen are already beginning to promote this feminist agenda. My organization also puts forward the younger winners in the front since they have positioned themselves in the forefront of the battle for women's rights. Secondly, I intentionally selected photos that portray these women as fierce, confident, positive, and hopeful. What matters is body language, but especially the gaze. Notice that some of the women are staring directly at Kavanaugh, scrutinizing him, standing up against him, almost to say, "Never again on my watch," or, "You may have successfully been confirmed, but our success is greater." Other women are looking to the distance, a hope for a better future and for further progress and even greater equality between women and men in politics, because there is still a long way to go. I also wanted them to look in different directions because it symbolizes their diversity, which broke records this election. Finally, I'd like to address the medium as a whole. The image itself almost looks like a postcard. You send postcards when you want to remember a moment forever. Similarly, women need to cherish the success as an important milestone, but continue their struggle to gain even more equality and surpass internal challenges. Additionally, I chose to use photos that appeared in news websites because this highlights the realness of the issue. These are not just some invented women fighting against some invented struggle. This all happened, and therefore change is real. We must keep fighting.